In a world full of complex relationships, today's story will offer a deep perspective on love and betrayal. A love that seemed perfect, but behind the sweet promises lies dark secrets. Join us as we follow the journey of these characters as they face deceit, tough decisions, and the dark moments of the heart. This story will make you reflect on trust and the choices we make in love. If you enjoy this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know your thoughts. My name is Alex. I'm 32, and until lately, I believed that my life was rather steady. A decent career, a comfortable apartment, and a wife, Sophia, 30, who I once thought was my ideal match. She was intelligent, beautiful, and had a knack for winning people over. We were that perfect pair to everyone else. But in hindsight, I ought to have recognized the warning signs. It began modestly. She would use her phone more, laughing at texts that she never showed me. She would lock the screen as soon as I looked over, as if she were concealing state secrets. I dismissed it at first. Perhaps it was a humorous meme from a buddy, or perhaps it was just work. However, my intuition told me otherwise. The business trip followed. She informed me that she would be gone for 3 days since she couldn't get out of an out-of-town conference. Nothing out of the ordinary, yet something felt strange this time. Her packing style, her avoidance of my gaze, and her failure to provide me with the customary information. Despite my instincts screaming at me, I remained calm. I didn't return home after dropping her off at the airport. I parked close by and waited instead. 5 minutes, 10, 15. Then I caught sight of her. She didn't even enter. Rather, she checked her phone, zipped up her hoodie, and headed directly to the parking lot. A man got out of a black BMW as it came up. Tall, nicely attired, assured, someone who strode as if he owned the entire universe. She then gave him a hug. Not a friendly, informal hug. No, this was personal, as though they had done it 100 times already. Despite my stomach churning, I made myself remain motionless. I required evidence. I pulled out my phone and took some photos. Every contact, each snatched look. It was like a knife to my chest every single time. Then they entered a hotel hand in hand. I sat there, my knuckles whitened from holding on to the steering wheel. My ears throbbed with my heartbeat. Anger, betrayal, perplexity. I was struck by a flurry of emotions all at once, but over all of them, one notion emerged. I had to know everything. I sat in my automobile with my fingertips hurting from holding onto the wheel. I was freezing, but my entire body felt charged, like if I had just finished 5 shots of espresso. My thoughts were racing as I stared at that fucking hotel entryway. What on earth was I meant to do? Is there a storm inside? Make a commotion? Ask for answers? No, this was something I had to be clever about. She would just flip it around, make excuses, and lie to my face like she did 1,000 times before if I walked in like some envious fool. I required evidence. Strong, indisputable evidence. So I waited. It was 2 hours later. I saw people coming and going, but Sophia was nowhere to be seen. But the guy? He went out, by themselves. After a brief moment of hesitation, I decided. I exited my vehicle and entered the hotel as if I were a local. The receptionist was so preoccupied with typing on her computer that she hardly gave me a glance. I inhaled deeply, took out my phone, and walked past the front desk toward the elevators while seeming to check my messages. I knew Sophia was still inside because the man had just departed. I searched every floor for her presence on the hallway cameras. Then I saw at room 617 on the 6th floor. Voices could be heard within the door, which was slightly ajar. Her tone, and I felt cold all over. I moved in close enough to hear. She grumbled, "I hate sneaking around." A man laughed. "Not that person earlier. Another person. Baby, you were aware of what you were getting into. Sweetheart." I balled my hands into fists. I feared they might hear my heartbeat because it was so loud. Sophia chuckled softly. Yes, indeed. I simply don't want Alex to know. Oh, he knows, I assure you. I wanted to kick the door in, but I restrained myself. Rather, I took out my phone and pressed record. I needed her own damn words to support me if I was going to approach her. A rustle. Steps. Just as the door opened, I took a step back. With her hair disheveled as if she had just rolled out of bed, Sophia stood there in nothing but a hotel robe. Her face went pale when she saw me. Alex? I said nothing at all. I simply held up my still recording phone. A man emerged behind her as her gaze swept over me. Late 20s, shirtless, gym rat type. As soon as he spotted me, his arrogant look disappeared. Reaching for my arm, Sophia stumbled. It doesn't look like this, I chuckled. In fact, I laughed. After all, what else could I do? Really? My voice trembled as I spoke. So tell me, how does it look exactly? Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. I put my phone back in my pocket and nodded. Indeed, I had that thought. I turned and left without saying anything more. She grabbed my sleeve and ran after me. Hold on, let me explain, Alex, please. My arm jerked free. What's that, Sophia? That you lie? A liar? That this business trip was nothing more than a pretext for scheming? Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't mind. No more. Please, she said in a whisper. Let's discuss this. I gave a head shake. No. You had an opportunity to speak. Right now? I finished listening. After that, I left her standing there and left the hotel. My phone continued to record. This was not the end of it. By no means. I drove quietly home. Just the sound of my own breathing and the occasional hoot from a jerk who thought I was driving too slowly. No music, no distractions. My mind kept repeating everything while my hands felt numb on the steering wheel. Sophia, the lodging facility, the man. She referred to him as Babe in her voice. My jaw hurt from gritting my teeth so tightly. My phone was already overflowing with texts when I pulled into my driveway. Sophia, let's chat. Please return. Sophia, it's not what you think. I promise. Sophia, I urge you, Alex, get up. I kept my thumb over the respond button while I gazed at the screen. However, what on earth was I meant to say? That I was all right? That I would simply forget everything and return to my usual self? No. After turning off my phone, I went inside. Everything felt off the moment I entered the house. We used to sit on the couch and watch movies. She would hum in the kitchen as she prepared coffee. God, I was unable to even look at our bedroom. There were fragments of her in everything here. And now all those bits felt like a living, breathing lie. I went to the wardrobe, got a duffel bag, and began stuffing it full of clothes. Tonight, I wasn't going to remain here. Perhaps never again. Outside, I heard tires screeching as I closed the bag. My front door opened a second later. Sophia. She appeared to have been crying the entire drive over, as seen by her crimson face and disheveled hair. Alex, please just listen to me, she said, panting as she entered. I said nothing at all, didn't give her a glance. I simply threw the duffel over my shoulder and moved past her in the direction of the door. She took hold of my arm. Alex, please stop. My patience gave out, and I yanked away. What are you stopping, Sophia? Quit being angry. Quit feeling like a fool. Give up trying to figure out what the hell I saw. She winced. It was an error. I gave a sour laugh. A mistake? Whoa. That's funny, since it sounded like something you've been doing for a while, based on what I heard. Frantically, she shook her head. It had no significance. I promise you, Alex, I adore you. I avoid it. I was surprised by how frigid and biting my voice sounded. You're not allowed to say that. Her cheeks were wet with tears. Please, I will stop at nothing to make this right. I looked at her intently as I stared. The woman I believed I would spend my old age with. the one I had loved for years. Now, though, she had changed as a person. Or perhaps she was, but I never really noticed. I sighed at last. Sophia, there is nothing to correct. She sobbed and put her hands over her face, weeping, the first apologize. However, it was far too late. I closed the door behind me and went outdoors. I had no idea where I was heading. There was just one thing I knew. I would not return. I had no destination in mind when I drove. My mind was trapped in a loop of everything that had transpired, with only streetlights and deserted roads in front of me. Every single syllable. All lies. In the end, I found myself at a motel, the kind with neon signs that flickered and bedspreads that showed cigarette burns. I didn't give a damn. All I wanted was a place other than home, because it no longer felt like home. I sat on the side of the bed, took out my phone, and left my bag on the floor. 37 calls were missed. Also, texts. From Sophia, everything of it. Sophia, don't go like this, please. Sophia, Alex, I need you. I love you despite my mistakes. Sophia, simply speak with me. For the final time. For the final time. I ought to have disregarded her. I should have just moved on and blocked her number. However, I felt compelled to listen to her thoughts. So I called her like a fool. The first ring caught her attention. Alex? She sounded little and tremulous, like if she had been crying for hours. I remained silent. Simply wait. Please, she said in a whisper. Can we get together? Not in the house. Simply put, somewhere neutral. I let out a slow breath. Why? I need you to comprehend. Know what? That for a few cheap thrills she tossed away everything we owned? That she told another guy she didn't want to sneak around while she was sneaking around in a hotel room, half naked? However, I replied, all right. Halfway between us, we decided on a 24-hour restaurant. Back when we were happy, we would go there late at night. When things come full circle, it's funny. She was already waiting in a booth in the corner when I arrived. Her hands were encircling a cup of coffee that she wasn't sipping, and her eyes were puffy. I moved to the seat on the other side of her. Speak. She recoiled as if I had given her a slap, and then she whispered, I never wanted to hurt you. I chuckled. A sound that is empty and hollow. Is that your best option? She cast her gaze downward. I'm not sure how it began. It was just attention at first. I feel like I'm being flirted with and wanted. You always made me feel loved. So I know that's messed up, but I added for her, but that wasn't enough. Her eyes were wiped. Alex, I made a mistake. I didn't anticipate things progressing this far. I believed I had control over it. My hands squeezed beneath the table, and yet you were there. In a lodging room with two distinct men, her lip quivered. Sophia, do you even recognize yourself anymore? Despite being quiet, my voice had a deep cut. The woman who is seated in front of me, she is not someone I recognize. There was silence between us. Do you hate me? She murmured at last. I ought to. I desired to, but I was just exhausted. I'm not sure, I said. However, I definitely no longer love you. She flinched. Even though I was crying, I didn't feel guilty. No more. I got up and tossed some cash for her unfinished coffee on the table. Sophia, this is our final conversation. I gave her one final glance. Goodbye. After that, I left. And I didn't turn around this time. When I left that diner, the night air felt different, lighter, as if I could breathe at last. Sophia has been ingrained in my routines, memories, and future for a very long time. Now, though, she was only someone I knew in the past. I didn't return to the lodging. Rather, I took a car to my brother's house. Mark was always the sensible one, the one who took things as they were, and I needed that right now. He opened the door in less than 10 seconds after I knocked, After glancing at my disheveled attire and weary eyes, he simply moved away. No inquiries, no nonsense. He said, "There's beer in the refrigerator." After grabbing one, I fell into his couch. I was suddenly overcome with fatigue. Mark sat, with his arms folded across from me. "Will you tell me what happened, or should I make a guess?" I exhaled. Sophia was unfaithful. He clenched his jaw. "How are you aware?" I pulled out my phone and looked through the videos and photos. I did not even need to hit the play button. His expression said it all. "Man, Jesus." He gave a head shake. I was aware that she was somewhat conceited, but this? I simply gazed at the beer I was holding. Yes, there was silence between us. Mark leaned forward after that. "So what comes next?" I thought that was the question. I let out a slow breath. "Divorce." Of course. It was the only word available, and it tasted bitter. Spoke with a lawyer already. Mark gave a nod of approval. "All right, you shouldn't waste any more time on her." I knew that he was correct. Still, I couldn't get rid of the discomfort and nagging sensation in my chest. Not because I was missing her. However, I detested the person she made me into. I used to be the person who loved without reservation and trusted others. And now, I had changed. Someone who saw all the lies and what-ifs before they were even said. "Hi." I was startled out of my reverie by Mark's voice. "You are not defined by this." I laughed a little dryly. "Seems to feel that way." He shook his head and said, "No, man. This is only the first chapter. Yes, a horrible one. It's not the entire book, though." I gave him all of my attention, and I believed him for the first time since the end of the world. I might be all right. I might fall in love again someday. Have faith once more. But for the time being, all I wanted to do was finish my fucking beer and begin anew.